got risers, we've got fallers, we've got a whole lot of debate on rookie value for this 2025 class. No better way to get into it than a 5-round 60 prospect mock draft. Let's get into it. All right, folks, nobody goes deeper than the rookie big board, so we are putting out the longest rookie mock draft out there. But don't worry, we're going to get through the prospects quick, get you all the knowledge you need to know. It's going to be a Superflex tight end premium PPR mock draft, so we're going to assume a full point premium on the tight end position for this mock draft. What you need to know here is this is a combination of my rankings and consensus value out here. As I go through the prospects, I'll differentiate when it's my rankings showing up more, consensus value, and where I see players rising and falling at this critical point in the NFL draft process. Without further ado, the 101, it is running back Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. This is a pretty consensus take at this point in time, even though it's a super flex league. It's Jeanty's vision for me and his contact balance in particular that set him apart in this draft class, despite the fact that it's a very strong and very deep running back class. I expect Jeanty to be a top 20 NFL draft pick. And in terms of dynasty fantasy football value, right now he's equal to Breece Hall in my dynasty rookie rankings, which means he's going to enter as a top 5 dynasty running back. A really good year to have that 101. At 102, here's where things could get a little bit mixed up, but I'm going to go with the wide receiver out of Arizona, Tatoria McMillan. He still, for me, is the 102, 6'5", 210, excellent, impressive boundary player. I like his downfield threat ability. I like his speed and fluidity for a guy who's 6'5", 210 pounds. Excellent ball tracking, large frame. I expect Tatoria McMillan to be a top 10 NFL draft pick. And in terms of dynasty value, again, these are value comps. This is not one-to-one talent comps. I'm telling you where these guys line up in my dynasty rankings. For Tatoria McMillan, that's T. Higgins, which means he is a top 12 dynasty wide receiver right off the bat. 103, here's the first quarterback off the board, and that is Cam Ward out of Miami. For me, the upside with Cam Ward makes him a borderline QB1. And when I say that, I mean a top 12 quarterback for dynasty fantasy football purposes. Ward has a huge arm. It helps him win at all 3 levels of the field. I also love his pocket presence. He feels pressure well, and he's got good escapability. Ward is athletic and he is mobile, but what I love about it is when he scrambles, he keeps his eyes upfield. He's always looking to throw the ball. I think that's what NFL evaluators are going to appreciate the most out of Cam Ward, but there is a lot to appreciate. He's got a gunslinger mentality. He's somebody, when I plug him into my projections, I think I'm going to have 3,500 plus passing yards, and I can get him to about 25 to 27 passing touchdowns as a rookie quarterback, of course, somewhat dependent on that landing spot. So Cam Ward, 103, I feel pretty good about that. 103 is where I'm seeing a tier break overall, except in the tight end premium format. In the tight end premium format, Tyler Warren, he's got to be in that top tier. So he's going to go off the board 104. This might feel a little aggressive at this point in time, but I'm going to tell you what, folks, the impact of a dynasty tight end, especially a rookie, when they hit, they hit. Look at Trey McBride's value. Look at Brock Bowers' value. Brock Bowers is tight end 1. That's the type of investment and risk I'm willing to take early on, especially with a player like Tyler Warren, who is so athletic, who is so versatile. He's got great hands. He's an excellent contested catch guy, and he's a very powerful blocker as well. I also project him to be a top 20 pick. Make sure you're subscribed to the Rookie Big Board, whether you're watching or whether you're listening to this episode, because we are in the midst of our rookie profile series. And guess what, folks? Tyler Warren is on deck this upcoming week. You are not going to want to miss his profile. We're going to get into his full film review. It's going to be a really good time. At 105 is a guy that we covered this past week in the rookie profiles, and that is running back Omarion Hampton out of the University of North Carolina. Hampton is slowly settling in as the running back 2. The rookie big boards had him as the running back 2 for a while now, but consensus has caught up. 6'0", 220. Hampton, he's a powerful runner. I love his ability to shred between the tackles. He's light on his feet, especially for his size, and he's elusive through tight space. And I got to tell you, when I went back and I was cutting up the film on Amari and Hampton, I further appreciated his hands. I think he has better hands than he's given credit for. 106 here. This is where consensus is a little bit higher than the rookie big board, and that's going to be Travis Hunter, the wide receiver out of Colorado. Now, the Hunter's ADP is probably the most in flux, right, of any prospect in this class. Travis Hunter, if he's declared drafted fully as a wide receiver, then he could be a top 3 rookie draft pick. I mean, that's probably where his ADP is going to go. If he's drafted as a cornerback and we have to wait and see rumors, chatter, where's he going to go? That's where I have him on the rookie big board, 10th overall in my rookie ranking. So he's still an excellent talent, and you want to invest in the upside. You want to invest in his sticky hands, his vertical athleticism, his explosive game-changing athleticism. You just have to remember, you have to translate this into actual fantasy football production. And at the end of the day, that's a huge part of my ranking system. 107, Luther Burden, wide receiver out of Mizzou. Put the timestamp, put the date stamp on it right now, folks. Luther Burden, he's going to be the best value in this rookie class. If I could get Luther Burden at 107 in my Superflex tight end premium rookie drafts, I'm doing it 10 out of 10 times. I'm not thinking twice about it. We are dropping Luther Burden in our rookie drafts right now. I'm doing a ton of mock drafts with the rookie big board patrons. I'm looking out there, the consensus, the expert, the analyst drafts and rankings, and we are just bored of Luther Burden. All right, he is an excellent talent. Go watch the 2024 film. People who are watching the box score said he had a worse year than 2023. I got to tell you, you flip on the film, you see a polished NFL-ready receiver in 2023 and 2024. He's got a great release. He's got great hands. He's comfortable working over to the middle of the field. He's versatile. He can play inside out. He's speedy. He creates separation consistently. I mean, I got to stop myself or I'm going to derail the whole episode talking about how Luther Burden should be going as a top 5 rookie pick, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to be soaking in the value there on the wide receiver out of Mizzou. A little bit less value here for me. The quarterback out of Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, he's going to come off the board 108 in this rookie mock. And again, I'm trying to reflect consensus here. I'm low on Shedeur Sanders. His upside, though, I understand it. When he's not under pressure, he's got solid mechanics. He'll throw from a clean platform when he's not feeling the defenders getting close to him. You could see good examples of Shedeur Sanders putting good touch on his balls. And I understand if you're mixing up the highlight reel, you're just taking the best of Shedeur Sanders. I understand why you might want to even take him a little bit higher in a Superflex league. You take the risk on the quarterback. For me, I'm projecting him to be a low-end quarterback too. I think if he's successful, a steady producer in the NFL as a starting quarterback, he's going to be a game manager. He's going to be somebody who can push the ball downfield. He's got some mobility, but he doesn't really have rushing upside and potential from a fantasy football perspective. So if you're drafting Shedeur Sanders at 108, you should be thinking that he's going to come in a value range here of Geno Smith, right? Which is fine. You just have to understand where you're taking him. And in the back end of the first round, I think that's a more appropriate spot. 109, Travion Henderson. Now, this is pushing him up a little bit, I think, compared to consensus. But folks are starting to remember back what they love so much about Travion Henderson, right? 5'10", 210, very well-rounded prospect. And I think NFL teams are going to appreciate that well-rounded nature. He's physical. He pops off the snap. He's aggressive. He attacks defenders. He attacks open gaps. He's a scrappy runner. I like Henderson's contact balance, low center of gravity. He's powerful. He wins in short yardage situations. It may not sound the most exciting, but I think his pass protection ability is going to help him get drafted. He picks up assignments well. He's got a good anchor in pass protection. His play strength shows up there. And I think that's going to lead him to being a top 50 NFL draft pick. I expect him to be the 3rd running back who hears his name called in this year's NFL draft. 110, his teammate, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. If you're looking for high floor, Here you go, folks. Emeka Egbuka, slot him in there as a solid wide receiver too, and that's not knocking him. If I can use my 10th pick, the 110 on a solid wide receiver too, I'm taking that all day. You've got smooth speed, you got the ability to navigate the field with ease. Emeka Egbuka's got a sharp release. He wins with that first step. He's got physical handwork, a good separation at the first and second level of the field. He puts his body in a position to win, boxes out defensive backs, does not let his routes get dropped. Consistent, sticky hands. 111, here's somebody I consistently keep moving up, and I listen to feedback. Drop me a comment. I want to hear it. Folks keep telling me you've got Caleb Johnson too low. You've got Caleb Johnson too low. Do you know what I do? When I hear folks consistently giving me the feedback in the Rookie Big Board Discord, I think Caleb Johnson, I like him a little bit more than you. Or I see it on the YouTube videos. Matt, I think you're low on Caleb Johnson. I'm putting it the nice way, by the way. That is not how the Caleb Johnson fans have been phrasing it. Oh, you know what I do? I go back, I watch more and more tape. The prospects each and every year that I watch the most tape on are the guys who I'm the furthest off of agreement with. And when I went back, I had 3 more games of Caleb Johnson, and I still don't like him as much as y'all. I would still take him in the mid-second round, but I get it. I'm piecing it together. You know, when I watched that Minnesota tape in particular, I saw the vision. You know, I saw him anticipate and feel space a lot better in that game. He hit a couple cutback lanes. I like that. He's got good lower body strength. That's always been apparent. I still think he lacks that burst, that second gear, but he's a high motor player. He does absorb that contact balance well, and you do see good power, and you do see a willingness to hit the gap, and you do have, he's 6'0", 225, right? So you've got that size. I understand why folks are in on him. I think he's going to be a Ramondre Stevenson type guy, right? Again, a rotational, a running back two, I should say, who at times could have a running back 1 week and could have runs of really nice fantasy football value. And at 112, it's the riser, Matthew Golden. He's kind of the hotness at this point in time. If you're going 6 weeks back, going back to that first mock draft I did for this draft cycle, you know, Matthew Golden is probably the biggest riser here. 6'0", 195 coming out of Texas. You know, sticky hands, good reaction skills. I love Golden's ability to work over the middle of the field. Why do folks like him so much? He gets open, folks. He wins against press coverage. He wins against zone. He finds those soft spots. I mean, Golden is just a really consistent, well-rounded guy. And a really good example here of why you should be playing Devy and listening to the Rookie Big Board advice. I drafted a ton of Matthew Golden back when he was at Houston in Devy leagues. I was advising folks to do that too. And if you took that advice, you have made a really, really nice return on value on Matthew Golden already. And he hasn't even been drafted. But once he does, he should be a top 50 NFL draft pick. Before we keep this thing rolling into the second round, I've been talking about my rookie rankings. I've been talking about my prospect evaluations. I got to tell you where to get those. The link will be in the episode description to join us over on patreon.com/rookieBigBoard. For just $5 a month, you can get access to my 81 completed rookie profile evaluations. Every player that I am talking about in this episode has a completed scouting evaluation on them. My full rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, Devy rankings. Again, you can compare the value of a Devy player all the way through a dynasty player. Personalized advice in the Rookie Big Board Discord. And you can also sign up to do a one-on-one draft consultation call with me. Again, all of that, just $5 a month over at patreon.com/rookieBigBoard. All right, let's get into it here. Round 2, running back Quinshon Judkins, another Buckeye off the board here. Judkins is sliding a little bit here. I just think folks are finding other players they like more than Judkins. Not that they don't like Judkins, but I will say, in terms of the NFL draft circles, folks are starting to point out some of those holes in his game that I identified back in, honestly, summer scouting, and definitely were reflected in his games this season. My biggest critique with him has always been vision. I don't think that he creates his own space, but when the Buckeyes offensive line opened up a nice gap for him, he would explode through those gaps. He's a high motor runner. He's got sharp footwork. He's got good downfield acceleration ability, and I like his quick feet. I really like his lateral burst. I think that's something that really stands out. Well, in a tight end premium league, Colston Loveland needs to get off the board. He could even sneak into the back end of the first round in some leagues because he's got really nice hands. He's a fluid athlete. He's able to win into the second level of the field. He catches the ball in stride. I like his ability to extend the frame. My biggest concern with Colston Loveland is I think he's going to get drafted a little bit later than some other folks think. I mean, a lot of folks are projecting him top 20. I've got him a little bit later. Top 50, still really good draft capital for a tight end. but I think that he has room to improve as a blocker, which could just limit his draft stock a little bit. But excellent as a pass catcher, and that's primarily what we care about from a fantasy football perspective. 203, my guy, Devin Neal. He's been higher than consensus on every rookie draft, and I don't care. I'm going to keep forcing him up here because I love Devin Neal. 5'11", 210. I'm going to have 75+% exposure to Devin Neal in my rookie drafts. He's a smooth runner. He's got good vision, excellent change of direction ability. The man just wins. Go back, look at the Devin Neal box scores, man. Look at over his long career at Kansas, how many 100-yard games he had. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's got good play strength. He wins in the short distance. So much to like about Devin Neal. I can't wait for my rookie drafts, particularly because I need some more Devin Neal exposure. 204, Cam Skattebo, a late riser through the college football playoffs. He's going to go day 2 in the NFL draft, and he is going to be the darling. He is that guy. Everybody wants him on their NFL team, and everyone's going to want to draft him on their fantasy football team as well. He's got lateral quickness. He's got good vision. He's explosive off the snap, good burst. I like his second effort strength, right? When you're thinking of Cam Skattebo, he's going to be somebody where if you give him 200+ touches, he's going to be a borderline running back one for fantasy football purposes. If you put him in a rotation, he's somebody that is going to burst and pop and have some really good games. Or, you give him 10 touches a game, he's the type of guy, 5.5 yards a carry. He's going to have a really nice stat line, but we're hoping that he could be in a high volume role. That's really where he's going to exceed expectations. 205 here, big riser. This is a consensus reflection here, and that is Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. Now, Jackson Dart, he's gaining a lot of momentum. I think it's because Jalen Milroe has fallen off. A poor senior week for Jalen Milroe has kind of taken him out of that quarterback 3 conversation, but Jackson Dart is on the rise here. He had an okay mobile, and I think folks want to like him more than they actually like him. He's a moldable prospect. I think that's the key here. He's a creative improviser. He wins off script. He's a mobile passer. He scrambles well. The thing you just have to understand, if you're going to use a mid-second round pick on Jackson Dart, which I think if rookie drafts happen right now, folks would, because there's a chance he goes as a top 50 pick, you have to understand he's raw. He has to improve his mechanics. He's really got to improve his processing ability in his decision-making, right? He was excellent in Lane Kiffin's offense, and he pops off on the analytics side. But you have to understand that Lane Kiffin offense is not an NFL offense. You have to trust the team Jackson Dart is getting drafted to, that they're going to coach him up and develop him. 206, Isaiah Bond just continues to slide. And I think the slide's going to stop once we hit Indianapolis. I've said this all along. He's the type of guy we're going to fall in love with at the combine because he's fast. But if you go back and watch his tape, for almost his full senior or final campaign in college, he had excellent hands. He had consistently separated. The reason that he slid so much is because he had a poor college football playoff, and that's what's fresh in people's minds, fair or not. But if he's coming at 206 or lower, you have a chance to get some really nice value on him. 207 is Dylan Sampson, the running back out of Tennessee. Fires off the snap, explosive runner. Sampson's got good play strength, good yard after contact ability. He's got quick feet, sharp cuts in between the tackles, expecting to be a day 2 draft pick. This is a little bit higher than I like Dylan Sampson, but definitely still a player that I like. All right, here we go. Xavier Restrepo, 208, 5'10", 198, consistently wins over the middle of the field. Physical, reliable hands, good mental concentration. Restrepo speeds up quickly off the line of scrimmage. He accelerates well downfield, really sells his routes with his footwork. Restrepo is a popular guy. He may not fall to 208 in a lot of leagues, but there's just so much talent. You should be taking that away. If you love Xavier Restrepo and you're thinking, how the heck does he fall to 208? A ton of talent in this year's class, folks, and in the second round, it's really showing up. 209, Jalen Milroe. I mentioned that he's sliding. The first rookie mock draft that I did of this cycle, he was a late first-round pick, but that was always above my ranking and evaluation on him. I think we're starting to kind of meet in the right spot with my evaluation and consensus. Milroe's got the upside. He's got the athleticism, right? And if you can mold him and put him in the right NFL offense to develop up, then he can be a really impactful starter to the next level. He's got a big arm, but he's got to improve that accuracy further. He's got to improve that decision-making further. He's got to settle down his mechanics, but the upside's absolutely there. which means top 50 NFL draft pick is still in play in this weak quarterback class. A huge riser from the Senior Bowl is Elijah Arroyo. And I got to tell you, I was flipping on the Elijah Arroyo tape right before the Senior Bowl started. I got really excited. I said, I think I've got a sleeper here. Then the Senior Bowl happened and the secret was out. 6'4", 241. He's a reliable target at all three levels of the field. He's got good ball skills. He reacts well to off-target passes. Arroyo is a fluid mover. He wins after the catch. So we got a little bit of a yak potential from the tight end position. Good feet, separates through his routes, and he's a high motor guy after the catch. Trevor Etienne keeps sliding down in these mock drafts, and that's just based on consensus feeling to him. I just think he's getting lost in the sauce in a strong running back class. I'm taking him off the board 211 here, and if I get the chance to draft him 211 in my rookie drafts, I'm taking that 10 out of 10 times. I think he is a NFL starting potential talent. He fires off the snap quickly. He explodes into those open gaps. I love Etienne's ability to win leverage. He's got good power. He's got good contact balance. And he has quick, sharp footwork. I thought Etienne did very well at the Senior Bowl. He got a little bit of a little bit of chatter there, but it's still not quite coming through at the level that it should. But hey, again, let's just soak up the value here, folks. And I'd soak up the value of Jalen Noel at 212 out of Iowa State. I am a huge fan of Jalen Noel. I'm going to have a ton of exposure to Jalen Noel. He was in my sleepers video, and for a good reason, because he's got sticky hands. He's got a great release. He wins in traffic. Noel separates consistently. I love wide receivers that consistently separate, and he's going to pair that with short area quickness, versatility. I think he's the type of guy that can absolutely chew it up in the slot at the next level. 301, another guy who I really like, and that's Jalen Royals out of Utah State. I'm trying to keep it somewhat on the down low. The consensus has not caught up on Jalen Royals, although we've talked about him a lot in the Discord. He's 6'0", 205 out of Utah State. Great first step. I like Royals' ability to win his release. He's a quick mover. He accelerates well. He wins over the middle of the field. He's a physical guy. I like he's a well-rounded wide receiver. I think he's NFL ready despite playing at Utah State. I think he's ready to step up and make an immediate impact on an NFL roster. Alec Eomenor coming off the board 302 here. Again, Eomenor falling to the third round. There's nothing about his talent. He just keeps getting leapfrogged by other talented players. And I think if you could sit there, get Eomenor in the third round, you have to be thrilled. This should be your biggest takeaway of this video. Go out after this, trade for some third-round picks. Because if you can get a guy like Eomenor, a clean route runner, somebody who has sharp footwork, somebody who can really scoop for the fact he's 6'2", 210, and has the type of ball skills, contested catch ability as him, he's going to be a day 2 pick, and he could be going realistically in the third round of your rookie drafts. That's a really, really nice spot to be drafting. And hey, it wouldn't be too bad to sit there at 303 and have this new addition to the mock draft series. That's LaQuint Allen. Hasn't made an appearance. LaQuint Allen was the 79th player in the class I watched, and shame on me because I should not have waited that long to watch this man out of Syracuse. 6'0", 207. I think he's a day 2 pick. Despite a loaded running back class, this man is good. He's a decisive runner. He's got clean cuts. He reads space very well. Allen wins laterally. He's a slippery runner. He's got good contact balance. Here's the difference maker. This should perk up your ears, folks. PPR leagues, great hands, catches the ball in stride well, turns upfield on a dime. He's not the fastest guy, but he's got solid speed. He's not going to blow away the combine, but NFL front offices are going to appreciate him. I think he's going to be a day 2 pick, and if you can get him in the third rounds of your rookie drafts, woo, that's going to be really nice value. 304, Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU. That tight end premium could push him up into the second round. Wouldn't blame you. Taylor's not the flashiest guy, but I think he has a real shot at being a top 50 pick. He's a fluid moving tight end. He's quick for his size. Again, 6'5", 255. He really was the focal point of the LSU passing game, especially early in the season this past year. He's got good hands. I really like Taylor's ball tracking ability. And as a blocker, he's, like I mentioned, he's well-rounded. He seals the edge well. He's a good pole blocker. He's reliable. NFL teams are definitely going to appreciate him. Fantasy football players have really appreciated the performance put out by Jack Beck out of TCU during the Senior Bowl. So a big riser, another new player we're talking about here. It's Jack Beck out of TCU. Sure-handed. He wins over the middle of the field. He's a physical route runner. He's physical with his hands, and he's scrappy after the catch. He's throwing stiff arms. He's keeping those legs moving. He's dropping his shoulder, getting everything he can out of every single play. That aggressive mentality. Folks absolutely love that. Beck has good short area quickness. He wins moving east to west as well. So really a lot to like there out of Beck. All right, 306. We got to talk about him. Quinn Ewers, the quarterback out of Texas. Listen, at this point in time, I think there's a real shot Quinn Ewers goes day 3. Not hearing a lot of positive chatter. If you watch the Quinn Ewers tape, if you come away with an evaluation other than day 3 at this point, you're probably really holding on to some past performances. And I'm saying that as somebody who was still, in on Quinn Ewers through, early October this past year. I've had to fade him, right? It's just not there. Do I think he could develop and get coached up to be a good starting quarterback in the NFL? Yes, because he's got great arm strength and he does have the mechanical foundations, but he needs to get the mental side down, the decision-making, the processing. I think he should have went back for another year at the college level, but still as a day 3 pick, he's got the name recognition. He's got the upside there. And so I think he'll probably come off the board in the 3rd round of Superflex leagues. But somebody who I think will actually get drafted before Quinn Ewers and somebody who I want more exposure to than Quinn Ewers at the quarterback position is Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville. I loved his evaluation, and I'm willing to get aggressive with this draft projection because I'm noticing a lot of other folks are catching on about Tyler Shuck. 6'5", 225, big arm. He wins downfield. He wins at all 3 levels of the field. I like Shuck's accuracy and ball placement ability, again, at all 3 levels of the field, but he fires the ball. He zips it to the short field, and in terms of arm strength, he can push that ball 45 yards downfield with relative ease. He's got good pocket presence. He feels pressure well. Shuck is a good decision maker. He protects the ball. He does not put it in harm's way. The big thing holding back Shuck, he's had multiple season-ending injuries. I believe he was a 7-year college player, but listen, at the end of the day, folks, we're done with this. We're done with writing off these guys for being in college a long time, right? We're seeing a guy like Bo Nix, who spent 5 years at college, be able to come in and make an immediate impact as a top 12 fantasy football producing quarterback as a rookie. Right now, he's a locked-in quarterback 1 for dynasty purposes. I'm writing these guys off just for their age. Coming off the board next year, 308, Jordan James. I had this guy in the 2nd round in earlier mock drafts. I'm not seeing the love returned on him. I still think he goes day 2. I loved what I saw from Jordan James tape. He's got good size, 5'10", 210. He's a twitchy runner. He's got good burst off the snap. He powers through gaps. He's got sharp cuts. I love his change of direction ability. But listen, I have no problem with this. I say this all the time, folks. Do not get stressed out. If somebody you love is not getting hype out there, don't change your opinion on that player. Just draft them later and soak in the value, right? That's what rookie big board patrons did with Puka Nacua. That's what we did with Tyrone Tracy. There is absolutely nothing wrong with taking that approach. 309, Damian Martinez, the power back out of Miami, 6'0", 230, physical runner between the tackles. He's got great contact balance. Good vision. I really like the footwork that Damian Martinez brings forward for a guy his size. 310, let's get into him. Ricky White out of UNLV. Ricky White had some really nice tape that he put together against Power 4 competition this past year. He's 6'0", 189. He's got smooth speed. He's got a little bit of what I call yak juice, all right? He's got a little shake. He's got a little ability to make guys miss. He's not the flashiest guy. He's not a pure yak guy, but he could absolutely get you 5 to 6 extra yards after the catch. I like White's hands. I like his ability to play over the middle of the field. He holds on through contact. He's able to create some separation by being physical through his routes, but he wins off the release. He wins with some good footwork. He can really cross up defensive backs through his routes, and he carries speed well into the deep field. 311, a much more consensus popular guy. And that's Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, especially if you're leaning into the analytics side of things. Trey Harris in the Ole Miss offense was a very exciting player. I have some questions about his tape. I actually think in this wide receiver class, I've just noticed guys jumping him, not only in my rankings, but in consensus rankings. I think there's a real shot Trey Harris falls to day 3, which is why I have him 311. It's probably a little bit lower than he's going in most rookie drafts at this point in time. I certainly understand the appeal, though. He's got reliable hands. He adjusts well to off-target passes. I think Harris navigates the entire field well, and he's got good vertical ability. You pair that with a guy who's 6'3". I see the appeal. I see the excitement, right, when it comes to him. One more pick in the third round, and that's going to be running back Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers. I have been hearing some chatter. I think folks are starting to catch on the Monangai hype. He's a shifty runner. He's got sharp footwork. I like his elusive ability. I like when running backs create their own space, and Monangai absolutely does that. He's got good strength. He's got good contact balance, a whole lot to like about him. And despite the fact that we're getting into the fourth round, there are still a lot of guys that I'm excited about. So I have 24 more players that I'm talking about. Round 4 starting here with Savion Williams, the wide receiver out of TCU. Now, Williams definitely could go off the board a little earlier in rookie drafts. I am lower on him than consensus. He speeds up quickly. He's got good bursts. He's definitely a versatile lateral agility guy, but it's the manufactured targets for me. I fade guys that heavily rely on those targets at the line of scrimmage, or the handoffs, the jet sweeps, the direct snaps, those types of things. They just don't translate to the NFL. Think Rondale Moore, think Kadarius Toney. Still, he could get day 2 NFL draft capital, and he might go a little bit higher, but there's just guys that I liked more than him, so I put him higher in the rookie mock draft. But 402, a guy who I really, really want exposure to, especially if I could get him this late in drafts, and that's SMU running back Brashad Smith. Now, I've been hyping up Brashad Smith since December, but folks started really getting into him after the Senior Bowl. He had a great week down there in Mobile. Speedy runner, accelerates well. He's got convincing footwork. I love Smith's sharp cutback ability. He's got excellent hands. He's fluid. He's bursty. He's a great pass catcher, PPR threat for sure. At 5'9", 195, the height, the weight, it's a little bit of a concern, but it shouldn't be an issue for me. It shouldn't be an issue for NFL teams. 403, it's tight end Gunnar Helm out of Texas. Now, not the flashiest guy from a fantasy football perspective, but a really nice two-way tight end. And he's going to get on the field and he's going to get volume because he has got reliable hands. He's a good ball tracking tight end. He's a fluid mover. He's got some shake after the catch. Not super elusive, not going to juke you out of your shoes, but he's 6'5", 250. And a guy who has even a little bit of shake at that size, that's going to be exciting. And from an NFL perspective, really good anchor, powerful, fires off the snap, seals the edge well. A lot to like about Gunnar Helm, even more to like, honestly, for me personally, when we were talking about RJ Harvey, big sleeper pick for me, somebody who I'm definitely going to be drafting a lot late in my rookie drafts. Out of UCF here, he's a patient runner. He anticipates space very well. I like Harvey's ability to hit cutback lanes. He has start, stop, explosion, a trait we haven't talked about with a lot of running backs on this episode. Really nice ability to start, get through his cuts, pick it back up. Good downfield acceleration ability. Big sleeper for me at 404. Another sleeper for me is at 405, and that's wide receiver Ty Felton out of Maryland. I'm a big fan of this guy. 6'1", 181. I think he's sneaking into late day 2. I'm going to get bold. I'm going to hold on to that. Consensus is absolutely not there, but I'm going to hold on to that for at least one more mock draft. He's a quick twitch athlete. He's speedy. He's bursty. He's got great release, consistently separates, reliable hands. He wins in traffic. The laziest thing you're going to hear all day because he also wore a Maryland jersey. But I'm sorry, I watched Ty Felton. I see a little DJ Moore in his game. I really do. He wins in a similar way, and I think an NFL team is really going to want to add him to a roster. 406 might be controversial. There's still folks who are absolutely in on Tez Johnson, but my man's small. He was listed at 165 before the combine or before Mobile, and he's coming in even smaller now. So Tez Johnson, the thing is, at the end of the day, he's still a really good route runner, right? He's still speedy. He still separates consistently. He still wins after the catch, right? There is still a ton to like about Tez Johnson, but you have to be realistic with the size and think about what's the fantasy football translation here, right? What's realistic from that perspective? And I think that he could be a good contributor, but coming in at a $156, there's just going to be natural limitations to the way he's used. 407, Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end out of Bowling Green. This might be way too low for some folks listening or watching to this episode. But the thing with Harold Fannin Jr., I think he fits better as an H-back. I have a tough time finding a fantasy football relevant role for him. 6'2", 238, so he's a bit of a tweener here. He has good hands. He wins at all three levels of the field. He's a fluid mover. He's really speedy for a tight end. He resembles a wide receiver in some ways, but when he's got the ball in his hands, he looks elusive. He's got good contact balance. He looks like a running back. I just think an NFL team is going to want to get super creative with him. I mean, you have to think Kyle Shanahan must be very excited about the idea of drafting him. Sean McVay, like I would love to have him on my NFL team. I'm just going to be a little bit cautious when going ahead with my fantasy football team. 408, Riley Leonard. There's definitely Leonard fans out there. I like the idea of him. I think he's a little bit limited in terms of his upside. Now, what's exciting about upside from fantasy football purposes is his athleticism. He's an athletic runner. He's got solid burst. Leonard is good working off script. He's elusive. He's got good escapability when he feels pressure, but my goodness, does he feel pressure. He takes off quick, abandons the pocket fast. He's accurate in the short field, but he doesn't have much arm strength. He loses that accuracy once he gets to the second level of the field. So in a Superflex league, I understand folks taking a shot on Riley Leonard in the fourth round. I probably wouldn't. I'd much rather use my fourth round pick on a guy like Ja'Cory Brooks, a sleeper wide receiver that I really like out of Louisville. 6'1", 191. You might remember Brooks. He was a former highly ranked 4-star recruit, started at Alabama, had some pops, had some flashes, but really put it all together this past season for the Cardinals. He has sticky hands. He extends well for balls thrown off target. I like Brooks's ball skills. He's speedy off the snap. He's got good short area quickness. He separates well, and he's got sharp routes. So I think he's a really well-rounded player. Brooks is definitely somebody that I'm going to want to get exposure to late in my rookie drafts. Jaden Higgins coming off the board, 4'10", somebody who I do think could go even high into the third round of rookie drafts. I mean, there's definitely the Jaden Higgins fans out there, and I don't dislike him. I just don't like him as much as consensus. So that's why he's sitting here at 4'10", but still a really good player. 6'3", 217. You got to love that size, and you got to love that size when you're pairing it with physical hands, the ability to consistently win ball positioning. He accelerates well along the boundary. Higgins has good hands. He's got good concentration over the middle of the field. He should be an early day 3 NFL draft pick. One thing we haven't talked about with a lot of wide receivers, he draws a ton of DPI, right? So he's beating defensive backs when he's drawing that DPI, and I think it's the physicality. They're getting caught up on him. 4'11", Ollie Gordon. Listen, I understand there's still the Ollie Gordon truthers out there. Hey, I get it. I was there with you at one time. 6'1", 233. He came in big at the Senior Bowl, and he's going to have to play big in the NFL to win. He's got good lower body strength. He finishes forward. I think that's really what his game needs to be focused on. He's scrappy. He gains a ton of yards after first contact. And for a guy who's 233, you will see him. He's pretty light on his feet. He's got pretty clean cuts for his size. I just wish Gordon had gone back for one more year at the college level, but he's heading to the NFL, and that means he's probably going to be a day 3 NFL draft pick. Now, if you're familiar with the Rookie Big Board rookie mocks, I love to save the 412 pick in particular for just somebody that I want to shout out, just somebody I want to hype up. And for me, in this mock, that's LeJohntay Wester out of Colorado. I got to be honest. I went into the LeJohntay Wester tape. I wasn't super excited about it, because Travis Hunter really takes up a lot of that airtime. I'd watched the Will Shepherd tape. I'd watched the Jimmy Horn tape. But then I put on Wester last, and that's who really popped out for me. 5'9", 177. So he's a little undersized, but my goodness, sticky hands, great ball skills. Wester wins in traffic, man. Wins over the middle of the field consistently. He's a speedy runner. He accelerates right off the snap. I mean, this guy gets the top speed quick. And he's got good lateral movement ability. He wins in space. He wins with sharp footwork. Reliable hands. I mean, I'm taking LeJohntay Wester in the 4th round of my rookie drafts. I'm absolutely willing to take that shot. Now, we're going to move through the 5th round pretty quickly here. Call this a bonus 12 picks. But quite honestly, folks, I mean, maybe it's the backside of doing as much in-depth research as I do. You just can't fit 48 guys in. I know there's some folks out there right now that are struggling to get into the 3rd round of a rookie draft. Don't really have a lot to talk about with 30 guys. But again, I've watched 80 of these players, so stopping at 48 is tough at me. So here's 12 bonus picks. 501, I really like running back Woody Marks out of USC. I draft him as high as the third round, quite honestly, but consensus isn't there. It's not driving it up, but he's got great vision. He wins in between the tackles. He's got great hands. If I could draft him in the fifth round, right? Think about the fact some of us are playing in 16-team leagues. You're still in the fourth round. Woody Marks, a really nice pick to have. Quarterback Will Howard out of Ohio State. I like Will Howard. I would draft Will Howard over Riley Leonard, who I talked about earlier. And quite frankly, I think there's an argument to be made, Jalen Milroe versus Will Howard, because I think Howard is an NFL-ready player. I think he's got good mobility. He's got good arm talent. Not the best arm talent, but he's got good arm talent. He's got good decision-making, good processing ability. I think he could sneak into day two, folks. I'm just throwing it out there. Wide receiver Kyle Williams out of Washington State. Kyle Williams, man, he's starting to get a little bit of hype. And I think he deserves that hype. He's a fluid player. If you're into early breakout age, he had really, really strong production early on in his career at UNLV before heading off to Washington State. Fluid moving guy, good hands. He wins along the boundary. He'll have to move inside at the next level. So that's kind of the transition that I'd be questioning a little bit. But overall, a really solid player. Tight end premium format. I'm willing to take Terrence Ferguson even higher. I'm willing to take him in the fourth round. I think Ferguson is an awesome sleeper tight end. I really like him. He's fluid. He's got excellent hands. He's bursty. He wins over the middle of the field. He wins in the red zone. I'm telling you, it's really, really sneaky guy. I haven't talked much about running back Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, but I did like my Brooks tape. I thought he was pretty powerful. I thought he had good vision, a bursty, shifty type runner. And he's a good pass catcher as well. So pretty versatile, pretty well-rounded guy. Again, just there's so much talent in this class. A lot of these guys are just getting lost in the sauce. But I think Brooks could be, around 5, maybe even around 4 NFL draft pick. I think there's upside there. Dillon Gabriel. I like Dillon Gabriel. I'm just going to say it. I know he's a short king. All right. There's not a better decision maker in this class. I don't know if there's a quarterback with better accuracy in this class, especially his consistent accuracy, clean mechanical platform, nice release. He's probably a day 3 pick just because of the size. But if you give him the opportunity, I think Dillon Gabriel is going to run with it. He got his opportunity at UCF. He ran with it. He won. He got his opportunity at Oklahoma. He ran with it and won. He got his opportunity at Oregon. He ran with it and he won. And I think if you give him a shot at the next level, there's a real good shot he runs with it and wins. At 507, I'm going to go Khalil Mullings, the running back out of Michigan. Powerful runner, physical, wins at the goal line, wins in short yardage situations. Not the type of guy who I think starts in the NFL as a, 150 to 175 touch guy, but he's the type of guy who's hanging around third on the depth chart. And if a couple guys get injured in front of him, could really ball out with that ability. And we know, folks, remember, it wasn't that long ago. We were playing in November in fantasy football, and, running back depth charts were absolutely decimated, right? Hey, here it is, folks. The Nick Nash fans, you've probably stopped watching because you've been asking for a long time to hear about Nick Nash. He made it. He made it onto an episode. I'm sure you wanted to hear him before 508 in a rookie mock, but here it is. Nick Nash out of San Jose State. I got to be honest, I had a lot of Nick Nash in college fantasy football. He kept being on my watch list, highly anticipated. Got a Shrine Bowl invite. I was excited about it. I flipped on the tape. I was a little underwhelmed. I'm sorry. I was a little underwhelmed. He's got some really good examples of winning in contested situations. He's got some good examples of reacting well to off-target passes. I just think, for a guy playing at the non-power forward level, I wanted to see him dominate defensive backs. I wanted to see him look much faster, much bigger, much stronger. I didn't see that. I saw a good wide receiver. I didn't see a great wide receiver. And that's why I think 5th round is an appropriate spot to take him. Tight end, Arande Gadsden. It's again, folks, he's a tweener, right? We need to understand his position. We need to understand how we get fantasy football value. How do you put him into an NFL offense? I need that question answered. And if we answer it and it comes out well from the draft night, we could be talking about a guy that goes in the 3rd round of rookie drafts. But right now, at this point in February, there's more questions than answers. And that's why he's going in the 5th round. Running back Bashal Tutton. I got to tell you, Tutton, man, he's not going to be the strongest guy. He's not going to be the fastest guy. But when you watch him play, he's consistent. He's solid. He's got good vision. One at the FCS level, transferred up. One at Virginia Tech. He's got a little bit of burst. He's got a good play strength. There's enough there. There is enough there for Bashal Tutton to be a good rotational running back at the next level, that if he gets his shot to have lead back volume at some point, whether it's 6 months into his career or 6 years into his career, there's a real shot that Bashal Tutton is fantasy football relevant for an extended period of time. He's worth that taxi squad spot. And that's probably what you're doing with your late 5th-round pick, right? Bashal Tutton, that's the type of guy you want to be going after. Tight end Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt, another undersized guy, very well could end up in that H-back territory, but in a tight end premium, I wanted to give him a shout out because he's super fluid, he's super athletic, great hands. You watch Vanderbilt versus Alabama, he's an absolute star in that game, right? But Stowers, a really intriguing guy. If you're not familiar with him, go ahead, give him a shot. Last guy, last pick, 60th pick in this rookie mock draft. That's Pat Bryant, the wide receiver at Illinois. Bryant, good hands, reliable, plays well along the boundary, good body positioning, consistently wins body positioning, able to go up high, point the ball, nice contested catch guy, solid speed, solid route runner, solid final pick here. If you want the in-depth breakdown on everybody I talked about in this rookie mock has a rookie evaluation available over at the Rookie Big Board, which you can get patreon.com/rookie big board. The link will be in the episode description. Again, that, my dynasty rankings, my Devy rankings, one-on-one draft consultation calls, personalized advice in the Rookie Big Board Discord, access to the 100-plus page 2025 rookie guide, all of that available for just $5 or save 15% now with an annual membership over at patreon.com/rookie big board. Drop a comment if you're watching. Let me know what you thought about this rookie mock draft. And we are going to be back to the rookie profile series. Another 4 prospects coming your way very, very soon.